Tonight, 1 week after that deadly tornado strike, the people of Joplin, Missouri pray for the victims, and President Obama consoles survivors as he tours devastated neighborhoods.
We will be with you every step of the way until Joplin is restored and this community is back on its feet. We're not going anywhere.
I'm Russ Mitchell. Also tonight, hitting the road. Sarah Palin rides into Washington as part of Operation Rolling Thunder. Does it signal her entry into the growing Republican field? And back from the brink, bald eagles soar again over Catalina Island decades after the pesticide DDT destroyed their habitat.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
Evening. It has now been 1 week since that devastating tornado rolled through Joplin, Missouri. And today the town got a visit from the president, and there were new signs of hope. Here are the latest numbers. 139 people died in last Sunday's tornado, and the number of people unaccounted for is down to 40. Ben Tracy is in Joplin tonight with the latest. Ben, good evening.
Good evening, Russ. President Obama was on the ground here for about 3 hours today in Joplin to see all of this firsthand, and he offered help to this town where, at churches like this one, it was anything but a normal Sunday. So this was your house?
Yeah, and there's the front entrance.
1 week ago, Father Justin Monahan survived the tornado.
Inside that door.
Inside his bathtub.
I kind of said, you know, Lord, if this is the end, can we speed it along?
Father Justin lost his house and his place of work. St. Mary's Church was ripped apart.
You're looking back there, the altar and sanctuary would have been where they're standing.
Today, the members of St. Mary's joined St. Peter's down the road for Mass.
Our masses are the same no matter where we are in the world, so that's no problem. It is the fact that we're not here.
That's the kind of loss President Obama saw up close today, comforting the victims and thanking the many volunteers. He spent about 45 minutes touring the disaster zone and talking with officials from FEMA.
This is a national tragedy, and that means there will be a national response.
There's a dawn in every darkness.
At the city's memorial service, the president made a promise.
The cameras may leave, the spotlight may shift, but we will be with you every step of the way until Joplin is restored and this community is back on its feet. We're not going anywhere.
The memorial service began and ended with a prayer from a certain Irish priest.
Father Monahan, I'm so glad you got in that tub.
One who knows something about loss.
We say yes and ask you to continue to bless us and to dream new dreams as we move forward at this time.
They're already at St. Mary's. Their spirit may be bent, but it is far from broken. And there is one part of their church that still stands, a symbol and a starting point for a new beginning.
And that will stay. Whatever else is built, that cross will stay.
This cross has become a real symbol here in Joplin, not just for the people at St. Mary's, but really for everyone in town, because they're looking for hope when there could be so much despair. Russ?
Ben Tracy in Joplin, Missouri. Thank you. And out of politics, with the Republican presidential hopeful field growing by the week, Sarah Palin is out and about this weekend, which is raising more questions about her intentions. Whit Johnson has more on the former Alaska governor's day in the nation's capital and where she could be headed.
Sarah Palin roared into Washington, dressed head to toe in black and leather.
Bristol's riding, Piper's riding, Todd's riding, yeah.
The former Alaska governor started her day at the Pentagon, followed by a wave and a cruise over Memorial Bridge, then some handshakes at the Korean War Memorial.
It is a debt of gratitude we owe our veterans. They are who secure and have secured our freedom.
The Rolling Thunder Biker Rally is typically a non-political event honoring America's veterans, and Palin's presence here has come with some mixed reviews.
This right here is about unity, and I don't hear that coming from Sarah Palin.
She's awesome. She needs to be here more often.
Palin has not announced her candidacy for president, but she's sending signals.
I do have the fire in my belly.
Today she launches her multi-state campaign-style bus tour, starting in Washington, going up the East Coast, and then reportedly to the key primary state of New Hampshire.
We know that our best days are yet to come.
In a recent CBS News New York Times poll, 51% of likely Republican voters viewed her favorably, but among all likely voters, the number drops to 26%. Still, her former running mate thinks she has a chance.
Can she beat Barack Obama?
Of course she can. She can. Now, whether she will or not, whether she'll even run or not, I don't know.
A guessing game either way, with the whole country along for the ride. Whit Johnson, CBS News, Washington.
And for perspective on Sarah Palin's appearance today and the overall Republican race for president, we are joined in Washington by political analyst John Dickerson. John, good evening to you.
Good evening, Russ.
So what do you think? Is Sarah Palin really testing the waters here, or is she just reinforcing her brand?
She is testing the waters. She's out delivering her message and seeing what kind of a reception she gets. And if she does want to run, there's no better way to do it than to present yourself as simply answering the call of a popular groundswell. If in the end she decides not to, her brand is in good shape. She becomes the most sought-after endorsement from other Republicans, which means she'll have a lot of power within the Republican Party.
We heard John McCain say he believes that Sarah Palin could beat Barack Obama in a general election, of course. But let's not even go that far. Let's talk about the nomination. What do you think? Does she have a chance of even getting the nomination?
She has a core of supporters in the Republican Party, but outside of that very devoted core, she has some difficulty. One, she is very unpopular among independent voters, and so in a general election, she would have a very tough hill to climb. That worries some Republicans. But also her favorable numbers, the number of people who think of her favorably in the Republican Party, has been going down. One thing to test from this bus tour is if she's able to improve her image just within her own party, that will give us some indication. If she can't do that, then she's not going to be able to do it in the cut and thrust of an actual campaign.
John, let's talk about a couple of wild cards out there. Texas Governor Rick Perry says he'll think about running. Rudy Giuliani not in the race either, yet he's ahead in at least one poll. What does that say to you?
It's just another sign that Republicans are unhappy with the field as it's set right now. What some strategists worry, though, is when people like Governor Perry say they'll think about it, it forces Republicans to wait again a little bit more and not focus on the current field.
John Dickerson, as always, thanks a lot. On this Memorial Day weekend, the bodies of U.S. servicemen killed in Afghanistan have been returned to Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. Air Force Staff Sergeant Joseph Hamsky was killed by an IED on Thursday. Army Sergeant Thomas Bohill was killed in a separate attack. Afghan officials say a NATO airstrike aimed at Taliban insurgents hit 2 civilian homes in Helmand province last night, killing 2 women and 12 youngsters. For more on the attack, we are joined by Mandy Clark, who is embedded with U.S. troops in Afghanistan. And Mandy, first up, what can you tell us about that attack?
Well, Russ, it appears that late last night, a U.S. base came under attack, and the Marine station there called for backup. Coalition forces launched an airstrike to repel the attack, but the provincial governor said 2 homes took a direct hit and killing those women and children. Now, the Afghan President Hamid Karzai has issued a scathing statement saying the attack was a big mistake, and he said the U.S. and NATO forces have to stop arbitrary and unnecessary operations, which he said are killing civilians every day.
Mandy, the way things stand right now, would it be possible for Afghan forces to take control?
Well, the short answer, Russ, is no. The U.S. has poured many millions of dollars in the training and equipping of Afghan forces, but they're simply not ready to take on the insurgents on their own. And the U.S. has already started limiting their use of night raids because of the risk of civilian casualties when it comes to those operations. Russ?
Mandy Clark in Afghanistan. Thank you. And in a statement this afternoon, the White House noted President Karzai's concerns about civilian casualties, adding, quote, "Those are concerns that we share and take very seriously," end quote. In the battle for Libya, CBS News has learned that 8 high-ranking Libyan military officers, including 4 generals, have left Libya for an undisclosed European capital. They intend to officially announce their defection from the Gaddafi regime tomorrow. Coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, how the maker of a popular drug tried to block a cheaper generic alternative. The Pentagon's top military contractor, Lockheed Martin, confirmed today that it was the target of what it called a tenacious cyber attack. But the company said last weekend's attack was detected immediately and foiled with no compromise of data. No word on the origin of the attack. 2 influential U.S. senators have urged the FDA to require physician groups and doctors to disclose their financial ties with drug makers. The senators detail how one pharmaceutical giant urged doctors to contact the FDA and raise concerns about a cheaper generic drug. Nancy Cordes has more.
Millions of other Lovenox patients.
Lovenox is a blood-thinning drug injected into the body.
Think Lovenox, love handles.
To combat deep vein thrombosis, a condition that sends dangerous blood clots from the leg to the lungs. Up to 600,000 Americans are afflicted every year. As many as 100,000 die. Lovenox has earned its maker, the French company Sanofi, more than $2 billion a year. So when the FDA began considering a cheaper, generic version of the costly drug in 2007, Sanofi sprang into action to try and slow the process.
It's an outrage, and frankly, we've got to find ways to stop it.
Senator Max Baucus chairs the Senate Finance Committee, which issued a report last week accusing Sanofi of paying off doctors to lobby the FDA against generics. According to the report, the Society for Hospital Medicine received more than $2.6 million over 3 years from Sanofi for sponsorship and conferences. At the same time, Sanofi urged them to send letters to the FDA questioning the safety of generics. In an internal email, an executive at the society admitted it has no history of making similar comments to the FDA and lacked the expertise and knowledge to weigh in on the matter. But the society sent 2 letters anyway, warning in one, an untested generic substitution is not in our patients' best interest.
I think if the FDA receives letters, recommendations from medical companies, from doctors, they should have a disclosure requirement. That is, tell us, Mr. Doctor, tell us, Mr. Medical Association, are you bought and sold?
Sanofi paid $2.3 million to the North American Thrombosis Foundation, which also wrote to the FDA to warn of the potential for unanticipated adverse events from generic drugs. Sanofi stands by its actions, telling CBS News, where there is an appropriate forum for public discourse, we may encourage experts in the field to express their own opinions. Each made their own decisions to submit comments to the FDA. But the Society of Hospital Medicine tells CBS we have learned from this experience and says it has reshaped its transparency policies.
The key to the relationships between physicians and industry is to foster innovation, but to maintain the independence of the profession. And it's important for the public to see that.
The FDA ended up approving the generic version of the drug in 2010, causing sales of Lovenox to drop 20% to a still healthy $2.05 billion. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, Washington.
Next up on tonight's CBS Evening News, words of wisdom for the class of 2011. As graduation season approaches its close, members of the class of 2011 have been getting some solid advice for these hard economic times. Here's a sampling of what graduates have been hearing from this year's class of commencement speakers.
Fear at your back, faith in front of you. Which way will you lean? Which way will you move? Move forward. Move ever forward. And tweet out a picture of the results.
When the question is oppression, answer justice. When the question is poverty, answer compassion. When the question is suffering, answer mercy. When the question is a lie, answer with the truth. And when the test says stop here, you say go on.
If you pursue your dreams, you can't quit when you fail, you can't quit when you mess up, and you can't quit when life seems to deal you a tough hand. You have been given the tools to triumph. Now it is up to your will, your mind, and your heart.
Humility, patience, and faith. And always a few tears from me. Now, these virtues will take you as far as you want to go. And graduates, these are just some of life's lessons.
Everything we value, education, hard work, generosity, service on behalf of others, we learn from our loved ones.
You are the sunshine of my life. That's why
Don't lose your curiosity, your quest for learning. One of the greatest gifts of childhood is something that too many people lose as they grow older. That curiosity to know how the world works, to find out the answer to the question, why?
Seek the truth, and when you find it, speak the truth, interrogate mercilessly the truth you've found, and act, act, act.
If you keep listening to yourself and keep yourself open to new possibilities and new people and new ways of thinking, you will find a place in this world that feels right for you.
The chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you.
Everything I have seen of your generation has shown me that you believe as deeply as any previous generation that America can always change for the better.
Just one bit of advice to the parents who are here. You have gotten these students this far. You've made a substantial investment in them. But I hope you'll remember to stay on good terms with them, because they are, after all, the ones who are going to pick the nursing home. Remember that.
Graduating class of 2011, dismissed!
And just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a bald eagle comeback on Catalina Island. Finally, on this Memorial Day Eve, America's national bird is flying high again over a West Coast island that DDT pollution drove them from 40 years ago. Dedicated rescuers deserve all the credit, as John Blackstone now shows us.
22 miles across the sea from Los Angeles, Catalina Island has a reputation for romance. It's also the adopted home of the American bison. But another American icon that is native to Catalina hasn't done as well. Bald eagles.
By the early to mid 60s, they were all gone from Catalina and the California Channel Islands.
For 15 years, Peter Sharp of the Institute for Wildlife Studies has been working to bring bald eagles back to Catalina, a project that lately has been having some notable success.
We spend a lot of the early portion of the year scanning the coastlines for just any activity.
To get an even closer look at the island's growing eagle population, Sharp has set up remote cameras looking into the nests.
It saves us a lot of time. It gives us more information on what's actually going on at the nest.
Not only can he monitor how the adults are caring for the fast-growing chicks, he streams the whole Eagle Cam reality show live on the internet for anyone to watch.
They're seeing things that until 5-10 years ago, most people never got to see.
All the more impressive because eagles were once in so much trouble here. The natural beauty of the island and the ocean here hides something ugly. Until the 1960s, the Pacific off Southern California was a dumping ground for thousands of tons of waste contaminated with the pesticide DDT. For decades, the DDT made the birds' eggs so thin the shells would break before hatching. So Sharp's team hatched them in incubators and then hand-raised the chicks until they were strong enough to be returned to the nest with their parents.
The adults did most of the work, but we did the stressful part.
Over the last 5 years, DDT levels appear to have dropped enough that the eggs can survive in the nest. When the chicks are 8 weeks old, almost big enough to fly, Sharp climbs into the nest to tag the young birds. With only 7 breeding pairs on Catalina, every eagle is important to the recovery, and especially important to Sharp, who hand-raised some of the birds who are now raising their own young.
I guess I have a little bit more attachment to these because I'm a grandfather now.
He's also pleased that nature here no longer needs quite as much help to do what comes naturally. John Blackstone, CBS News, Catalina Island.
And that is the CBS Evening News. Later on CBS 60 Minutes. Thanks for joining us this Sunday evening. I'm Russ Mitchell, CBS News in New York. Hope you're having a great holiday weekend. Good night.